How about now? Why? Why is my why? Why? Okay. You should have sound now. Do we have sound now? No sound. I'm muted? Dangle clacks. These are fucking dangle clacks for sure. It says I have sound. Sound now? Got ya? This is like a community prank now? Got ya. Do we have sound? Great. Okay, we have sound. Cool. Yeah, I don't know what that was all about. Weird. Weird. Dangle clacks for sure. Well, fuck. Let me take it from the top here, you guys. Yoha and welcome. Happy Sunday to ya. Good. Can hear you. Cool. All right. Well, we might actually have a show now. Thank you. Thank you. Yoha and welcome. Happy Sunday, everybody. Thank you for joining me for Rise and Vape. I was saying to Six Pack Kid, gotta finish your video with Addy Tooney. I was praising the ground that Mr. Addy Tooney walks on. Johan, good morning to you, Ern. Um, yeah, if you don't know Addy Tooney, seriously, go follow him on X if you're on X, Twitter. I prefer to call it Twitter. I just can't. I hate calling it X. You know, I can't. I just can't, man. I hate calling it X. If you're on Twitter, go follow Addy Tooney, and if you're kind of in the community here and you're in YouTube videos and streams, I'm sure that you guys all know Addy Tooney. He was on the Casad live stream yesterday. It was a great show. We had him on to talk about consumer advocacy. Because if you guys know Addy, he's just an incredible powerhouse of an advocate. We talked a little bit about DIY and living in a banned state and how that is still a viable option. You just have to do some research and kind of do a little Google food to figure out where you need to get supplies. But it is still viable. It is still an option. Alex joined in late, but Alex was there with me and Addy. So we basically just had a New Yorker CASA stream, but it was great. Seriously, thank you to everybody who's been showing up to the CASA streams. We've been consistently pulling like 75 to 100 plus viewers in these recent CASA streams, and I cannot thank members and the community enough. Hungry Hippo, thank you for that sub. But seriously, can't thank the community enough. Can't thank CASA members enough for tuning in, sharing, liking, subscribing, doing all the things. It's been really nice to see our numbers and the stream gain traction, and I'm really proud of it. I'm really proud of the work that we're doing. I'm Xing. Yeah, dude, I just hate it, man. I hate it, Ern. I just hate it. I hate it so much. But yeah, it's X now. I just call it Twitter. Even when I do, I pull the audio and I make the audio versions of the CASA stream. So like I do all the SoundCloud work and all of that. Thank you, Gothic Cowboy, for that sub. Much appreciated. And I pull all the audio and I put it out. When I do the description for that specific episode, I still put Twitter/X because I just hate it so much. But yeah, great stream. Seriously, it was a great time having Addy on. I can't thank him enough. Let's see. How about we get into some regular Rise and Vape stuff here, you guys? You want to do a little bit of what I've been vaping? We can do that really quick. Also, what am I sipping on? Some morning coffee, shower, vape, advocate. If you would like a Rise and Vape mug, you can check it out over on the Spring store. The link is in the All My Links thing, along with a bunch of other merch. But let's do this. Cross 3, Vaporesso Cross 3. It's just a standard for me. This is the guy that always lives in my pocket. Got some 24 milligram back off in here. I was off the back off train for a little while, but I got right back on. Next up, I set this up a couple of weeks ago here. I'm still going strong. This is the Tesla Invader 3 potentiometer variable voltage mod here, little dual 18 guy, little old school here. This is probably 2016, 2017, the original drop on top of there, and I've got some guava jelly going on the inside. That guava lemonade is just too good. Just too good. Yoha, Mr. Strode. How we doing today? Hungry Hippo. Banana honey. What? Tell me where I can get some banana honey because I want some of that in my mouth hole right now. That sounds fantastic. Next up, I've got the Titan V2 old parallel 2700. I don't know what to call these anymore. You know, semi-mechanical, I suppose is the right term. It does have a MOSFET. It is wired, but no chip to speak of. Semi-mechanical is kind of the, I guess, the terminology I like to use. Original recipe recoil on top of there, little Swifty top from DHD. In there, some High Drip Classics Caramel Apple. This is a liquid that I picked up like, I don't know, a year ago and forgot about it. It just lived on my shelf forever. But it's so good. You know those green apple suckers that have like the glob of caramel on them? That's what this liquid tastes like. It's exactly what it tastes like. And then last up, I've got that AV1, that little 3D printed mech squonk going on there. Citadel sitting on top, little Moss Chiquita action going on. And I've got that Blood Orange Tango Berry from Marketplace. Marketplace is just so good, you guys. It's just so good. Just so good. So that's my current lineup. I'm sure on Tuesday on Instagram we'll probably tear some of these things apart, do some re-wicking, do some cleaning up for the week. But that is currently what I'm vaping. Got from B&M. It's online though. First tobacco kind of liquid I've had. Oh, is it a tobacco? Interesting. I love a good tobacco liquid, man. I love a good tobacco. Back off is like it's like a caramel cream tobacco. Like if I had to put like a flavor profile to back off, it says sweet and savory on the bottle, but to me it's very like a creamy caramel tobacco. And it's just my all day. It's my all day every day, and it's so good. I can never get enough of it. Every time I put it in order, I'm like 6 bottles. 6 bottles, Eric. That's what I need. Thoughts on the new Empire coming out? I just hope I don't have to tighten any screws inside it, man. I guess. I'm not as hip to what Nick is doing as everybody else is. But if there's a new Empire coming out, that's awesome. I just hope I don't have to tighten any screws on the inside of the board. Reminds me of a Banana Foster. Ooh, I love Banana Fosters, dude. I used to get a really good like Banana Foster's coffee. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. What I need to do at some point soon is reach back out to Mr. Tom Lyford about working on these exhale liquids again and getting some of that going. We had a project in the works a while back, and then, you know, Tom's a busy guy. I'm a busy guy. And it just kind of got put on the back burner. It got put on the back burner, but I need to reach out to him and be like, Tom, bro, liquids, let's do the thing. Because I've got some cool liquids that I would love to put out into the world, some flavors that I'd love to put out in the world. And Tom's the man. Tom's my dude. He's testing the living shits out of the board this time. Good. I hope so. I hope so. I mean, look, I love the Empire. I have one. It's still, even though I've tightened the screws, there's just weird things about the Empire, you know, that it's inconsistent, I think. And that's the reason why I don't use the Empire more. Otherwise, I love the device. I love the form factor. I don't necessarily love the cleaning of the bottle process and screwing out those tiny screws, but I'm willing to deal with it because when it works right, it works great, you know? Yeah. The old Empire was gifted to me, so I'm eternally grateful for all of the gifts that I've ever received, and that was one of them. So I never bought the old Empire, but maybe I'll buy the new one. Maybe I will. Have you tried FDH Dunsky? Excellent coffee, iced caramel latte. I have not. Six Pack Kid. Shoot me a link to it or something like that, and I'll check it out. Let's get into some things, you guys. Let's do the rising part of this vape. What do you say? let's get into some stuff. I've got a whole mess of things going on that I want to cover this week. Starting out with Canada, we're gonna travel north. We're northbound and up right now. This is a Vaping 360 article from Jim McDonald. Thank you, Jim, as always, on the board of CASA, an excellent board member, an excellent advocate, and always an excellent journalist. Canada relaunches plan to ban most vape flavors. I don't need this table of contents thing going on. That's new for Vaping 360. Oh, they're breaking it into segments. That's cool. Anyways, Canada is on the verge of banning most vape flavors and forcing manufacturers to reformulate existing allowed flavors using only a short list of ingredients approved by Health Canada. Health Canada, you guys. Health Canada is just just a constant disappointment. At one point in time, Health Canada on their official website used to endorse tobacco harm reduction, endorse vaping, stood behind these products as a safer alternative to smoking. And then now, due to American propaganda being shipped north, continues to reverse their stance and ignore the science. And here we are yet again with Health Canada trying to ban flavors or moving forward with banning flavors. Let's see here. Among flavorings not allowed are sweeteners of any kind. Any kind. No sweeteners. You cannot use sweeteners in Canadian liquids now. I believe this starts, when does their proposed rule start? I'm not sure. We'll find it somewhere along the way. I can't remember if it's the 1st of 2025. It might be. I don't know. Moving along, though. This is the real interesting part. The phantom flavor rule, right? On June 19th of 2021, I don't know if you guys remember this. Yoha, Nitrid. Health Canada published new regulations in the Canada Gazette signifying the government's intention to implement a flavor ban in 6 months. So they were talking about January 1st, essentially January 1st of 2022. Then something happened, or rather nothing happened. The flavor rule that had been set to launch in January of 2022 never appeared, and all of Health Canada mentions of a flavor ban or the need for one in documents and social media evaporated. And as time passed, vapors began to breathe easier. Maybe there would be no ban. So through 2022 and into 2023, this just kind of went silent, right? No mentions, no articles, no nothing from Health Canada about the flavor ban. In March of 2023, even anti-vaping activist group Physicians for a Smoke-Free Canada, major proponents of banning vape flavors, threw up its hands. The tobacco control hardliners published an article speculating that the flavor rule was finished. It now seems prudent to concede that the flavor ban has been left to die on the vine, they lamented. Meet Health Minister Mark Holland. Fast forward a year and the flavor ban has returned from the dead, probably thanks to the efforts of one person, newly minted Health Minister Mark Holland. The minister has backing, of course, from the usual special interest, tobacco, control, and medical groups that always oppose consumer nicotine products, including his former employer, Heart and Stroke. Holland worked at Heart and Stroke, formerly the Heart and Stroke Foundation of Canada, between losing his House of Commons seat in 2011 and taking it back in 2015. Holland is a rising star in the majority Liberal Party, representing a riding district in Ajax, Ontario. So, here we go. Essentially, the flavor ban is back thanks to the new health minister at Health Canada, for Canada, and with the backing of his old employers, the same folks that at one point had conceded that this probably wasn't going to happen. Now he's back. Now they believe they stand a chance, and they're pushing forward with it. Canadian vape consumers, have your say. Nearly 12,000 consumers have already used advocacy group Rights for Vapors website. There's a link right here. The links to every article that we're going to talk about this morning and every study and whatnot is in the description below. So you can go over to the Vaping 360 article if you're in Canada or if you have friends in Canada, something, north, and share this with them. Let them know if they don't know what's going on or how they can be involved. I follow Rights for Vapors on X. You can too. They're a fantastic advocacy group up in Canada. I highly recommend that you follow them, or if you're in Canada, get involved with them, because this is going through. But there is still time. There is still a way for advocates to be heard, to use their voice, and I highly recommend that folks up north do this. Love how giant things like that just go silent and then suddenly pop up again. Sometimes it's for political reasons, elections or whatever, all sorts of stuff. Why those things happen. Other things take precedence, and then when things calm down, they're like, oh yeah, we were gonna do this thing, right, Ern? So yeah, there's a lot of reasons, or just be passing the law without any prior knowledge. That happens too. Sometimes it slips into a bill, an omnibus bill. We've had that happen before in states, New York. Need to pass budget bills. They'll slip something in because they know it has to go through. They know they can't live without the budget. This is a need to vote on thing. They'll work it into the wording. It gets overlooked because of all the countless other things that are in budget bills. So yeah, there's a whole mess of reasons why this kind of stuff happens, but that doesn't mean that there isn't something we can do about it. Please, if you're in Canada or if you have Canadian friends or family or whatever, let them know what's going on. Share this article with them from Jim and let them know about this right here. This letter opposing the rules that they can be a part of. Moving along, we're going to leave Canada and we're going to talk about popcorn lung. It's 2024 and I really didn't think that I would be sitting in front of a camera talking about popcorn lung. Much love and yoha to you, Pat. But here we are. This article is a little bit old, but this year even, in Florida, we recently talked about Representative Tant, who was talking about popcorn lung in a committee hearing. And thank you, folks like Nick Orlando and Skip Murray, who have reached out to Representative Tant and have kind of cleared the air around that with her. I hope she does not bring this up. I hope you guys were successful in showing her the science and swaying her. Briefly heard from Skip in yesterday's CASA stream that she spoke to Representative Tant. Yeah, but it's 2024 and we're still talking about popcorn lung, and this drives me insane. But this is a really great article from Michelle Mitten, who I've interviewed in the past. We've had on CASA. If you're not hip to Michelle, she's just a super down-to-earth researcher. She's an epidemiologist. She really gets to the bottom of things, right? She understands trends. She was really critical in tracking the lung injuries in 2019. And here she is, not even a year ago, 2023, we shouldn't even be talking about popcorn lung anymore at that point, but we were, and we're still talking about it today. This still comes up. So for folks curious about popcorn lung, the long and short of this is that popcorn lung, otherwise known as bronchiolitis obliterans, is an extremely rare lung disease that has only been documented in 8 factory workers working in a microwave buttered popcorn factory. Think like the popcorn that you make in your microwave at home, working over vats of this chemical diacetyl. Now, diacetyl is used in all sorts of foods, all sorts of things to give it a buttery taste. And early on in vaping, diacetyl was used in e-cigarettes to give a buttery flavoring to the flavor. What is diacetyl? Yes, it's a naturally occurring chemical in cultured dairy and fermented products. Do nicotine e-cigarettes contain it? She goes on to talk about that, exactly that, early generations. Basically, when everything came out early on about popcorn lung and this disease and whatever, there was this link to this chemical, and it was in e-cigarettes, and it's a lung disease, so everybody freaked out. The industry just said, we have alternatives. We're not going to use this product anymore. The UK banned the use of it in their products. The US did not ban the use of it in products. But basically, the US industry and just the industry across the board just stopped using it. Just stopped using it. There's other ways to get a buttery note in your e-liquid without using this chemical. The craziest part about this is and we're going to talk about it right here. This is something that I don't think a lot of people understand. Is here we go. 2015 Harvard study, and I've talked about this ad nauseum with people around popcorn lung. For example, found an average of 9 micrograms of diacetyl per e-cigarette cartridge in the samples that tested positive for the chemical. Remember that. 9 micrograms per e-cigarette cartridge. Combustible cigarettes, meanwhile, contain approximately 336 micrograms of diacetyl per cigarette. This means that a cartridge per day vapor would be exposed to just 9 micrograms of diacetyl, while a pack per day smoker are exposed to 6,700 micrograms of diacetyl every day. 750 times more than exposure to vapors. Yet a link between smoking and popcorn lung has yet to materialize. In fact, during the initial studies of popcorn factory workers, researchers observed that those employees who reported smoking showed fewer signs of bronchiolitis obliterans rather than their non-smoking counterparts. Funny how we didn't have to ban something because our industry self-regulated because we're fucking adults. I agree with you, Ern. This is the wildest part about when we start talking about diacetyl and popcorn lung. There has never been one conclusive case of bronchiolitis obliterans in someone who smokes. Diacetyl is quite delicious, actually. Yeah, Tom, it truly is. Nothing beats that buttery note, man. 750 times more diacetyl exposures than in vapors. Why are we still talking about popcorn lung when it comes to vaping? Not only is this chemical not present in current e-cigarettes today, but it's never happened. It's never once happened because of nicotine vaping. It's never once happened because of cigarette smoking. We're still talking about popcorn lung, you guys. And I'm sorry that I'm getting heated right now. But it just boggles my mind with the amount of science that's out there, the amount of research into this exact topic, that we still have lawmakers, representatives. We still have universities, professors promoting this egregious lie simply to smear tobacco harm reduction, to convince adults that these products are not safer than smoking, which is outlandish, egregious, detrimental, dangerous, deadly. It's most definitely present in my e-cigarettes today. Well, it's because you mixed. I don't know if you heard me earlier, but I'm going to reach out to you here soon, man. We got to get some e-liquid conversation going again. But yeah, here we go. You guys, Reason Foundation, if you want to share a really great article about popcorn lung because one of your ignorant friends or family wants to talk about how there's Orville Redenbacher inside their air sacs in their chest, you can send them this. It is loaded with studies, with evidence behind it, as Michelle Mitten always does. She does not just make wild, outlandish claims. She backs up every word with evidence. You can send this article their way to just attempt to debunk this wild myth that continues to persist beyond reason. Yeah, I agree, Tom. Anyway, let's move into some cool science, right? Let's move into some cool science. This is an exploratory randomized crossover study to investigate the effect of nicotine on cognitive function in healthy adult smokers who use an electronic cigarette after a period of smoking abstinence. It's a long title for a study, but this is cool. We've talked about nicotine being a cognitive booster for a long time. There's evidence that shows nicotine can be preventative for Parkinson's disease and other cognitive degenerative diseases. There's evidence to show that nicotine increases focus, attention, memory, all sorts of things. Remember, nicotine in itself is just a central nervous system mild stimulant that is truly essentially just a cognitive booster. As with all stimulants, taking in, I don't want to say all, not all, most do react in a similar way in which they increase your attention, your focus, your energy, and a lot of things like that. Now, there's always a too much factor, there's always a too little factor, there's always a biological factor, and whatnot, and what have you. But nicotine specifically really is truly a cognitive booster. This study basically was an exploratory, randomized, partially blinded, single center, 5-arm crossover trial. That's a lot of words. That recruited 40 healthy male and female people who smoke. I love that they used the words people who smoke and didn't say smokers. Thank you. Thank you for not using stigmatizing language. At 5 study sessions following up a 12-hour period of nicotine abstinence, participants were randomly assigned to use either a combustible cigarette or an e-cigarette of 3 varying nicotine strengths, or observe a no product usage session. Participants completed pre- and post-product usage assessments to examine the product usage effect on cognitive performance. They used CANTAB, which is Cambridge Neuropsychological Test Automated Battery. I don't know what that is. Subjective, mood, and smoking urges. The results. I guess we'll just skip over. Yeah, we can go to the results. Why not? We can read through this. It's not very long. A significant improvement in sustained attention task performance was observed following the use of both nicotine-containing e-cigarettes and combustible cigarettes compared to no product use. Additionally, there were no significant differences between the nicotine-containing products, indicating that nicotine use enhanced sustained attention regardless of the delivery format. Nicotine worked no matter how it was taken. Nicotine-containing e-cigarette and combustible cigarette also significantly improved overall mood of participants compared to no product use. Which, look, if you just went 12 hours without nicotine and then you were given nicotine, my mood would improve. If you're somebody who regularly uses nicotine and then you go 12 hours, you're dealing with withdrawal, that to me just screams common sense as somebody who uses nicotine. But if you don't, there you go. With no significant differences observed between the nicotine-containing products. Nicotine-containing e-cigarette and combustible cigarette use significantly reduced smoking urges compared to no product use, though combustible cigarette use elicited the greater reduction in smoking urges. Overall, nicotine-containing products improve sustained attention and mood while reducing smoking urges, with the studied e-cigarettes having comparable effects to combustible cigarettes across the assessed cognitive parameters and mood measures. These results demonstrate the potential role of e-cigarettes to provide an acceptable alternative to combustible cigarettes among people who would otherwise continue to smoke. It's not just potential. I mean, we have a mountain of science that shows, which we'll actually get to a mountain of science here next, that shows that these products help people quit smoking and that they are a viable option. Yeah, Tom, we need to talk, man. We need to dig up an old project that we were working on. I really want to do it this year. All right, let's move along. Again, that was the exploratory randomized crossover study to investigate the effect of nicotine on cognitive function in healthy adult smokers who use an electronic cigarette after a period of smoking abstinence. It's a long title. We're going to talk about Cochrane, the Cochrane TAG, which is the Tobacco Addiction Group, electronic cigarettes for smoking cessation. This is a living systemic review. Okay. To examine, blah, 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 we're going to go with search methods. We searched the Cochrane Tobacco Group's specialized register to February 1st, 2023, and Cochrane Central Register of Controlled Trials, Medline, Embase, and Psych Info to January 2023 in reference checked and contacted study authors. The main results, we included 88 completed studies, 10 new to this date, representing 27,235 participants, of which 47 were randomized control trials, which are top-tier trials. RCTs are like some of the best studies that you can possibly do. Of those included studies, we rated 10, all but one contributing to our main comparisons, at low risk of bias overall, 58 at high risk overall, including all non-randomized studies, and the remainder at unclear risk. So this is this study, this release here talks about risk bias and things like that in all of these studies that they do in their actual, I guess this is actually the wrong link. I got the wrong link. This is the link talking about their review of their own living systemic review. So maybe I can find it here. We will find trials. I got you guys the wrong link, and I'm so sorry. Let's just see if we can search for it. Because I wanted to talk about the update, and I found this link on Twitter, and I thought this was their most recent one. And maybe it's not. Either way, they've been at this for a long time, and they continue to add to the, let's see if I go living review. Is this what we were just in? This might be what we were just in. Oh, this might be what we were just in, and I just didn't read it quickly enough. There's moderate certainty evidence limited by imprecision that nicotine e-cigarette increases quit rates compared to non-nicotine. Yeah. So this is the living review. It's just compacted, essentially. High certainty that e-cigarette increases quit rates compared to nicotine replacement therapy, NRTs. In absolute terms, this might translate to an additional 4 quitters per 100. So if we're talking e-cigarette, nicotine e-cigarettes compared to NRTs like gums, lozenges, sprays, anything from, pharmaceutical companies that are approved by FDA for cessation purposes, those would be what we're talking about when we talk about NRTs. 4 additional quitters per 100. There's moderate certainty evidence that the rate of occurrence of AEs, which is, what are they calling AEs here? Adverse events. The occurrence of AEs is similar between groups. So when we're talking about NRTs and e-cigarettes, I'm assuming SAE is severe. Can we find that one? Serious. Same thing. Were rare, and there is insufficient evidence to determine whether rates differ between groups due to very serious imprecision. Either way, this is Cochrane Review is super duper sciencey stuff. This is I'm just gonna ramble on here. Cochrane Tobacco Group is kind of the gold standard for science, and sometimes it's not easy to read, and I'm not gonna stumble through this anymore this morning. But if you are sciencey and you want to read a whole bunch of numbers that just point towards the evidence of the best science accumulated around these products and around whether or not e-cigarettes can help adult smokers quit or people who smoke. Now they got me saying it. This is it. This is the science. This is the gold standard. Yeah, I wish I had done a better job with this one, you guys, and I apologize. Maybe we can just find, no, there's no real results, conclusions here. Data from non-randomized studies were consistent with RCT data. The most commonly reported adverse events were throat and mouth irritation, headache, cough, and nausea, which tended to dissipate with continued e-cigarette use. Very few studies reported data on other outcomes or comparisons, hence evidence for these is limited. Their conclusions. There's high certainty evidence that e-cigarettes with nicotine increase quit rates. I hate trying to say increase quit rates because I always want to say increase every time. Increase quit rates compared with NRT, and moderate certainty evidence that they increase quit rates compared with e-cigarettes without nicotine. Evidence comparing nicotine e-cigarettes with usual care, no treatment, also suggests benefit, but is less certain due to risk of bias inherent to the study design. Confidence intervals, for the most part, wide for data on adverse events and serious adverse events and other safety markers, with no difference in adverse events between nicotine and non-nicotine e-cigarettes, nor between nicotine e-cigarettes and NRT. Overall incidence of serious adverse effects was low across all study arms. We did not detect evidence of serious harm from nicotine e-cigarettes. That's a really important line right there. We did not detect evidence of serious harm from nicotine e-cigarettes. Even though everybody and their brother will tell you that these things will kill you, that they are going to rot the brains of our youth, that you're going to get popcorn lung, you're going to have seizures, and you're going to end up with all of the lung diseases, you're going to have COPD, and all these things. We did not detect evidence of serious harm from nicotine e-cigarettes. Yes, they do follow up saying the longest was 2 years and the number of studies was small, because there is a mountain of evidence saying so, but the Cochrane Tobacco Group really hones in on not just the number of studies that exist, but the top tier, the best of the best science around these products. There is no evidence of serious harm through the best science possibly available. I'm going to get out of super science-y things now because I'm not the best at it, but I hope that you guys, got something out of that. Living Systemic Review. This is their Living Systemic Review. Give me that diacetyl in my face. Yeah, dude. More diacetyl. Bring back diacetyl. Hashtag bring back diacetyl. Let's move over to CASA to wrap things up for the day, you guys. There's still a whole mess of things happening across the country. This is wild. This is an FDA campaign that's just insane. But we'll get into some updates. Kentucky update. Governor I think it's supposed to be Amy Beshear signed House Bill 11 into law, making Kentucky the sixth state with a PMTA registry law. These laws will have dire consequences for adult consumers seeking safer alternatives to smoking. Effective January 1st, 2025. I believe it's supposed to be Amy Beshear in Kentucky. So that's 6 states now. Oh, damn, a little late. Welcome. And Yoha, Tribal Buddha. You're not late at all, man. You're just in time for the blog coverage here. Virginia update. Governor Youngkin has returned HB 1069 to the House with proposed amendments to remove the Attorney General's authority to bring the court action or to concur with such an action by a Commonwealth's attorney or local government attorney. This is a long-worded wind of things here. The amendment would also postpone enforcement of the PMT registry until July 21st, 2025. The General Assembly will reconvene on April 17th to consider, so this is just a few days ago, and we don't have an update yet, I don't believe, from Virginia, to consider the amendment, which would be to be adopted as is. The bill would then become law, or to change could be overridden by a 2/3 vote. Virginia, we need an update, a bigger update, other than this just kind of like going back and forth business that we're dealing with Virginia right now. Hopefully we hear more. I believe that was Thursday, and I don't think we found out anything Friday. I believe they ended Thursday without an answer, and I don't know if anything happened on Friday, so we're going to have to wait and see this week. Hopefully we have some more news on Virginia. Nebraska, LB 12041, a bill that bans remote online sales and requires manufacturers to apply for certification before selling their products in the state, has been approved by Governor Pillen. So we've got a online sales ban approved in Nebraska. Heads up, Illinois, state lawmakers are pushing a bill that would prohibit e-cigarettes from being purchased remotely by anyone other than a distributor or seller. So this would ban B2C sales, business to consumer sales. It would only be B2B sales allowed. This would mean adults could no longer purchase legal products online. It could especially impact adults in several Illinois municipalities with flavor bans, including Chicago, where 133,000 adults report using vapor products, and a flavor ban has been in effect since 2020. So more online bans. Heads up, Illinois. If you're in Illinois, get involved with this call to action right here. Yeah, Maybe we can play this. Do you guys want to play this? I'm going to play a snippet of it, and you tell me if you can hear it. I just want to make sure. I'm going to play a snippet of this. You tell me if you can hear it. Could you guys hear that? We're going to play this new real cost campaign ad. Did you hear any of it? Did you hear the fox say, hey? What does the fox say? I'll play it again. You let me know if you can hear it or if you want me to turn it up. Can you hear him? Can you hear him say, psst, hey? I'll wait. It's cool. I know there's also like a crazy delay between you guys and me. Because I believe you can't hear anything. What if we just turn this way up?
Hey, did you know?
No? What if we do this?
Psst. Hey, did...
Now he's yelling at you. Can you hear it now? I'll turn it back down a little bit because that seemed really loud. Did you hear him that time? Did you hear him say, no? You really?
Psst. Hey, did you know that...
No? Still no? Better? Okay, I'm going to blow out your eardrums. We're going to play it.
Psst. Hey, did you know that kid is vaping the same toxic chemical that's used in taxidermy? Formaldehyde?
Formaldehyde.
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 Formaldehyde. Formaldehyde. Formaldehyde.
Formaldehyde.
Formaldehyde. Formaldehyde. Formaldehyde.
Yep, heard it? Yeah. Formaldehyde. We're still going to talk about formaldehyde, aren't we? First of all, there's no formaldehyde in your e-liquid. For anybody concerned about what is in your e-liquid, there are aromatics or flavorings, water-soluble flavorings that are used in all sorts of foods, all food grade. There is pharmaceutical grade nicotine. There is VG, which is vegetable glycerin, and there's also PG, which is propylene glycol, and both of those are sugar alcohols, essentially. They're just carrier liquids. VG and PG are both used in all sorts of things, all sorts of other inhalants. They're also used in fog machines at concerts, and they don't harm you. They actually probably do the opposite of harm you. They've been shown to kind of act as an antiseptic in clearing out things and clearing out environments, including your lungs. There is no formaldehyde in your e-liquid. Formaldehyde can be formed through vaping, through things like burning your wicking material, dry burns and dry hits, not using your e-cigarettes properly. More formaldehyde is created by the candles in your home that you will inhale in the air. It is created through any form of combustion. It is created through overcooking your steak on a grill, but it is not created in quantities large enough to cause human harm in an e-cigarette when used properly. But we will continue to talk about formaldehyde. I feel like until the end of time, just like we're going to keep talking about popcorn lung until the end of time. Did you know teens create more formaldehyde through natural metabolism than they could ever vape? Oh, probably. I don't know that for a fact, but yeah. But everything I said is a fact. There's more formaldehyde created in candles that you burn in your home. There's more formaldehyde created in any form of combustion, which e-cigarettes do not do. Again, unless you are dry burning the wicking material in your e-cigarette. Dry hits do increase quite a bit formaldehyde, but most people, if you take a dry hit, you don't continue to do it. You go, oh God, that's awful, and you rectify the situation. You remedy that situation. It's just wild to me that we're still talking about formaldehyde. Agencies want more funding to fight harm reduction. We need more funding to promote harm reduction. That's what we need. The CDC and FDA are two of the worst agencies in the world when it comes to advancing the manufacturing of tobacco harm reduction products. I would agree with that. Even more appalling, they are the same agencies that, whether through inactions or campaigns, continue to drive misperceptions surrounding nicotine and the continuum of risk for various tobacco products, as well as driving forward prohibitionist policies that will lead to unintended consequences. Neither agency should be rewarded with additional funding while they fail at both informing the public of reduced risk tobacco products and properly regulating the marketplace for adult access. Thank you, Lindsay Stroud, for, I believe she works for the Taxpayers Alliance. Lindsay Stroud, thank you so much for your continued advocacy. And this is one hell of a powerhouse of a quote. I DM'd you a fun article on formaldehyde. I'll definitely read it later. Thanks, Michael. Tobacco control. Good news is bad for tobacco control, folks. They always ignore the good news, like what's happened with deadly smoking in both groups and how many of these teens and young adults would otherwise be smoking in the absence of vaping. Also, if, quote, almost half started vaping before they turned 18, that means over half started after they turned 18. Yeah. Jeff Henderson on X tweeted this article from NPR. Philip Kirschberg, who's a fantastic advocate over on X, responded, NPR has a long and well-documented history of slanted reporting on tobacco harm reduction. This has always troubled me, as I'm sure it does you, but there are some explanations considering both ideological, I'm just going to keep clicking it, and financial worth considering. So there you go. There's an article that we kind of briefly, I guess, addressed here in the blog. Legal action lawsuits against harm reduction. Several cities in Ohio are suing because state lawmakers chose to follow the science and data to prevent unjustified city vape bans, thereby protecting the health of adults residents from losing access to safer alternatives to deadly cigarettes. Awesome. And this is a super short blog this week. All the things, Spotify, the most recent CASA videos. This is a really good one that we did, me, Alex, and Kristen, on disposables a couple of weeks ago. And then yesterday, like we talked about earlier, we did the episode with Addie Tooney. I highly recommend folks tune in and check that out if you haven't yet. If you know Addie, I love the man to death. Addie Tooney is an incredible advocate. Highly recommend that folks check out that live stream. I'm definitely going to read the article, Michael, on formaldehyde. You've said it's fun, so I'll check it out. That's it for me this week, you guys. I'm sorry that I stumbled through there at the end when we got to real science-y things because I'm not a scientist. But the tobacco, the Living Systemic Review from the Cochrane Tobacco Group really, truly is probably the gold standard right now around the world for the best science available regarding these products. Not just junk science that gets riddled out into the world every other day. These are the highest quality studies that you can possibly do, accumulated, to show that these products help people quit smoking, that adverse effects are low, and that there is a high certainty that these products even work better than traditional NRTs. That's good enough for me. If the highest quality science in the entire world isn't good enough for you, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you at that point, you know? Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in this morning. I don't have much else other than tonight I will be live with this week's Come Down. Patrons have been voting all week on lagers. We're doing lagers. We're going to have a lager tonight. Yeah. I'm not really usually a big like lager pilsner guy, but something in me this last week was like, I just want a beer that tastes like beer tonight. And so, patrons, thank you for voting. If I have any patrons here, I appreciate it. If you're interested in the Patreon, there's a bunch of cool things. We haven't done a Nebulos episode in a little while. It's something that me and Beck are not always the best at doing. But I do plan on doing a new Nebulos episode soon. If you're interested in checking out the Patreon, it's patreon.com/LoganExhales for $5 a month. You get an exclusive podcast. You get to vote on beers that we drink on the Come Down. You get discounts on merch. You get access to additional things in the Discord channels, Sunday morning coffee hangs, which I'll be doing with patrons soon. Yeah, it's good. It's fun. It's awesome. And it helps me do this and pay my bills. So please consider the Patreon. If you've got a few more bucks along the way, check out CASA. Donate to CASA. CASA definitely needs the funding as well. Definitely appreciate it, you guys. I'll be live tonight, like I said, 7 p.m. Eastern for this week's Come Down. That'll be over on Twitch. Please like, subscribe, tune in, follow, do all the things. I'll also be live Tuesday night for Instagram hangs this week. And that's it. That's the schedule. I don't have anything conflicting going on this week. So all should be normal. All should be normal. Thrills for the pills, for sure. I do love a good Pilsner, man. We had a Pilsner not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago on the Come Down. I love beer that tastes like beer. As much as I love beer that, is like a fruit smoothie beer or like a thick caramel mocha cappuccino stout or something like that, I still love beer that tastes like beer, and we're going to have a beer that tastes like beer tonight. I'm really, really excited for it. Thank you for tuning in, Michael. Thank you, everybody. Much love to you. I hope you guys have an excellent rest of your day. I hope to see you in chat on Twitch tonight. Be excellent to each other, you guys. Just as importantly, be excellent to yourselves. Everybody stay safe out there. Stay cloudy. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for rising and vaping with me. Much love, everybody.